Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we'll be going through the CMAT section of innovation and entrepreneurship. Now, the question paper in front of me is the previous year question paper uh, for 2021. The paper had 25 questions and it was optional by nature. This year, if we are looking at the CMAT paper, we are talking in terms of five sections, 20 questions each per section. So we'll have English, we'll have reasoning, we will have maths, we'll have GK, and we will have the innovation and entrepreneurship section. So this now is no longer an optional section, but an integral part of the CMAT paper. Now, what we need to understand here, the paper tests basic concepts and basic fundamentals for anyone who is interested in innovation and entrepreneurship. The questions are easy, which people can answer by putting in some logic and understanding. Now, if we look at entrepreneurship and innovation, when we look at entrepreneurship, the basic idea that we need to understand is by looking at people who have been successful around us. So when we look at examples, like let's say an Ola or an Oyo or an Uber or a Flipkart for that matter. So we are talking in terms of entrepreneurs. We are talking in terms of an innovative product strategy. Now, Ola cabs, if we look at it very simply, okay, they created a product. The customers wanted a product, a safe way to travel, okay, and a product was created. Similarly, if we look at Oyo rooms, if I want to book a hotel room in Kashmir, where do I go? Oyo comes up with a promise: an AC room, a Wi-Fi facility, neat and clean rooms. Oyo is successful. So the most important thing when we are looking at innovation and entrepreneurship, what we need to understand: are we talking in terms of a marketable product, a product that, when I say a marketable product, do the customers have a need for the product? Does the product solve a customer's problem? Third, is it compatible with the needs of the customer? Fourth, is the customer happy with it? Once these four questions are answered, okay, the product has the basic ingredients to be successful. So innovation and entrepreneurship is, to understand innovation and entrepreneurship, we just need to look at some of the successful stories of successful entrepreneurs, their life stories, how they visualized a product, how they created a product, and move ahead with the idea. One of the best ways of solving this would be to look at the Shark Tank episodes that are broadcast on Sony Live, and accordingly get some basic idea as to how products are being created. Okay, so we'll have a look here at the innovation and entrepreneurship section of the CMAT paper of last year. Chances are high that this year's paper would be on similar lines. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the questions that are here. Okay, so someone legally appointed to sell off the assets of a bankrupt is called? The answer is a liquidator. A liquidator, or when you liquefy the assets of a bankrupt organization, you are turning the assets into cash or cash equivalents. Okay, the term bootstrapping. The term bootstrapping, when we come across the term bootstrapping, it is a term that is often associated with startups. So when we say bootstrapping, it is basically when an entrepreneur starts a company with little or no funds, and he tries to raise money from outside investments. That is the term bootstrapping that we come across with. Okay. Now, RuPay. RuPay, if we see, it has been launched by the National Payments Corporation of India. If you look at the National Payments Corporation of India, it is an umbrella organization for operating in retail payments and settlements in India. It is an initiative of the RBI under the provisions of the Payments and Settlements Act 2007. So when we are looking at the RuPay, okay, Now, mixed economy, very simple. A question that we have come across quite often. It is the coexistence of public and private sector initiatives. Okay. A startup is defined as an entity that is headquartered in India, which was opened less than a year ago and has an annual turnover of less than 100 crores. A good way to read this would be the Startup India campaign initiated by the government of India. Secondly, unicorns have been a part of the budget this year, budget statement this year. Another good reading would be the initiatives taken by the government of India to promote unicorns and venture capitalistic funding in India. Who has launched the UPI-based payment app in the country by the name Tez? Now, Tez technically was launched by Google. Presently, we know it by the name of Google Pay. Okay. So all of you can see that the questions are pretty simple, not difficult to understand. Now, this is here an RC passage. Just take a minute, go through the RC passage. So the passage is talking in terms of entrepreneurs, people who have a business idea, and what advice would I give to new entrepreneurs who need funding? So when you look at this passage, the passage is primarily people having an idea, and now I want to make the idea big. Okay? Now, is everyone ready to support your idea? The answer, now look at possibly here. But ask any entrepreneur who has called on venture capitalists, and they'll probably tell you it is almost impossible to get even calls returned. Even if the venture capitalists do respond and invite it, the process will drag on for many months. To be fair now, so some of these ideas, to be fair, most of the business plans do not deserve funding, and few are worth the paper on which they are printed. Most of the ideas are worthless. Everyone is ready to jump on the same trend. It is hard even for the best venture capitalists to identify potential success. So what should an entrepreneur do? Should understand that you need to have a realistic business plan. Focus on validating your idea. Raise money on your own rather than going down to a venture capitalist. I raise money, and you can get started by begging and borrowing from family and friends. And be prepared to dip into your. There's no single recipe for developing your business idea. You can consult widely, share your ideas with those people who have done it before. You can learn from a lot of experience of. You can learn a lot from experience of seasoned entrepreneurs. Speak to anyone who can help you understand your target customers. If you can sell your concept, some customers may help you find it or agree to be a test site or a valuable reference. So you need to start small, is what the customers do not usually know what they want, but they always know what they do not need. Make sure that there is a real need for your product. Start small. Your idea may be grand and have potential to change the world, but you are going to do this one step at a time. Be cautious. Look for simple solutions. Test them, learn from the feedback. Work. If you're starting a restaurant, now look at this. If you're starting a restaurant, so the idea is clear. Be cautious at the beginning. Start small. Take small steps. Work for someone else first. If you're creating a software product, learn by doing some consulting assignments or create some utilities. You do not have to start with the ultimate product. Start with utilities. A very good example here would be Paytm. Paytm presently is a completely different version of what it started with. It started as a very, very simple mobile recharging platform. Watch every penny. You have to be frugal in your approach. Focus on revenue and profitability from the start. Find creative ways to earn cash by selling tactical products, pay employees partially in stock. Look for access to free hardware or premises and sweep the floors yourself. Be ready to be the hero as well as zero at the same time. In short, use any methods to avoid costs. Prepare for the worst. It is going to take longer than you think. Okay, you will fail a number of times. Okay, Moving ahead, keep now, very, very important. Keep your integrity. That is possibly one of the keys. If you look at the Tata group of companies, it values stronger than steel. Never forget the importance of business ethics. And the only way to reach your long-term success is by the way of achieving outstanding customer satisfaction. You look at Amazon, you look at Flipkart. Okay, the way they service their customers, outstanding customer satisfaction, and with a lot of luck and hard work, you may build a successful company that markets customers. It is very likely that at this stage, you receive phone calls. You receive phone calls from venture capitalists. This is the time to think of exit strategies and decide you want to own a small piece or a big pie or a large pie of a large pie of a big piece. Now, if you look at this passage overall, it's a pretty simple, readable passage. We just need to focus on the idea. The idea is primarily related to innovation and entrepreneurship, and primarily this passage is about how to get the funding from venture capitalists. Now, the basic idea is funding from venture capitalists does not happen with the idea. You need to struggle your bit in order to prove your idea. And how do you struggle is what the passage is talking about. Now, if you look at the questions, a marketable product. Now, what would be a marketable product? Even if without reading the product, a marketable product that has a customer need, product that appeals to buyers and sells at a certain price range, a product that appeals to investors. Investors are not my buyers. A product whose market value is increasing becomes difficult for buyers. Again, look at the word. A product that is appreciated by media houses, definitely no. The first one is the answer. The phrase, a few are worth the paper on which they are printed. The ideas are good, hardly any ideas, some ideas are good, few are worth the paper on which they are printed. Most of the ideas are not good and few are just worth the paper on which they are printed. Hardly any idea is good. Okay. It is hard even for the best venture capitalist to identify that is mentioned in the passage. Yes, A, focus on validating your idea and building it up. According to the passage, both A and B are true. Perfectly fine. Which are the following which of the following advices are given by the writer in the passage? Make sure that you have enough money. You cannot have enough money. Make sure you have secured an education degree. Not sure. Make sure there is real need for the product. Start small. Yes. According to the passage, which are the essential ingredients for developing identify market, but hide the idea from others. Hiding has never. Share openly is what the author says. Consult widely. Share your ideas with the identify markets. Perfectly. So all these so the questions are not inferential; they are direct from the passages. What we can see. What are the two business ideas shared in the passage? We were talking in terms of softwares and restaurants. Starting a restaurant and creating a software product. That is one of the answers. According to the given passage, which of the following is not a correct statement? Ethics needs to that ethics is mentioned. Okay, share your ideas with those who have done it before has been mentioned. It also shows that phenomenon is heterogeneous. Now, heterogeneous is a word. Phenomena is heterogeneous is something that has not been mentioned in the passage. In other words, funding comes when you do not need it. When your product has had a market appeal. So again, if you see 1, 2, and 4 has been mentioned, 3 then is the right answer. It is not a correct statement as per the passage. Now, exit strategies as mentioned in the passage signifies an to sellers or to investors or another company. It is not talking in terms of, so if you look at option talks in daily plan and exit interviews, definitely no. Analyze market and exit from one product to another. Now, exiting from one product to another, definitely no. The last lines of the passage, they give me this answer. So now, some of these questions are basic understanding. Entrepreneurs are risk averse, haters, takers, lovers. Entrepreneurs, if I'm an entrepreneur, risk taker. Among the barriers to entering an industry, patent switching costs, status symbols, all of the above. A word, symbol, name, or device that a business uses to identify its goods. Trademark. The legal name for a brand is? We're again talking in terms of a trademark. Market segment should comprise of customers. A cricket team. A good example would be a cricket team. A cricket team comprises of a wicketkeeper, batsman, bowlers. Okay. So their share similarities, do not share similarities. Sorry, market segment should comprise of customers who? Sorry. Share similarities. Who share similarities. So like let's say educational products. Current launcher is into the education segment. It sells products. So its target segment would be graduate students, people who have completed their graduation. So people in the age group of let's say a 20 to 23 would be current launchers market segment. The conclusion part of a business plan will identify the feasibility of business. Is the business viable? Market description does not make the conclusion part. The market description would be the first part, administrative aspects of business would again be, so the feasibility of is the business successful? Is the business viable? What type of financing do angel investors do? Angel investors are those individuals who put, who buy the shares at and pay you a certain, so equity. Equity is primarily related to shares. Entrepreneurial in is high rewards and low risks? No. The moment I say low risk, and I cannot be an entrepreneur. The risks are low. Tapping opportunities and seeking recognition? No, not necessarily again seeking recognition. Keep tapping opportunities, yes. Managing resources and family context? Again, not necessarily. Personality traits that an individual is likely to, team members need a, for example, when we was talking in terms of previously, I was trying to, this question was in mind. So a diverse set of competencies is what we are looking at. The ideal action that explains how an entrepreneur will make his or her venture profitable and impactful is commonly referred to as strategy. That explains the idea of how an entrepreneur will make his venture. How is basically what your strategy is. So that is the answer is strategy. So this is the whole paper. So if you look at these 25 questions, 20 out of 25 is doable. So be tactical in your answering the questions. The questions are simple. Don't be frenzied with the idea of what would come in innovation and entrepreneurship. This is what it comes. It is easy. Hope all of you understood what the CMAT innovation and entrepreneurship section was all about. Thank you. Have a nice time.